Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were truly alone? No distractions, no phone, no outside noise, just you and your thoughts. Most people fear solitude because they think it means loneliness. But let me tell you, being alone is where your real power begins. It's where you sharpen your mind, build unshakable confidence, and create a vision that's unstoppable. The greatest breakthroughs don't happen in the crowd, they happen in the quiet. So stop running from solitude, own it, because when you learn to stand alone, you become someone no one can break. Who's ready to step up? Solitude is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. The world constantly pushes the idea that if you're alone, you're missing something, that you need to be surrounded by people to be happy, or successful. But let's challenge that idea right now. What if being alone is exactly what you need to become the strongest, most capable version of yourself? What if the ability to embrace solitude is the key to unlocking your full potential? When you step away from the noise, you gain control, you gain clarity, you gain the power to master your own mind without the constant influence of external opinions. Think about it. Most people are afraid of silence because in silence, they have to face themselves. But the people who harness solitude as a tool for growth become unshakable. They don't fear being alone because they've learned that within solitude lies the opportunity to develop the deepest levels of self-awareness, self-reliance, and mental strength. Being alone allows you to strip away the distractions and truly connect with your own thoughts, ambitions, and desires. When you're constantly surrounded by others, their expectations, emotions, and judgments start influencing you, whether you realize it or not. You begin to absorb their beliefs, their limitations, their fears. But when you take the time to step back and be alone, you start to hear your own voice again. You reconnect with what you truly want, what drives you, what excites you, and that clarity is priceless. Look at the most successful, high-achieving individuals in any field. They didn't rise to the top by always being in a crowd. They took time away to refine their vision. They embraced solitude so they could think deeply, strategize, and develop mastery. Greatness isn't built in a room full of distractions. It's built in the moments of focused, undisturbed effort. Whether it's an artist perfecting their craft, an athlete training at dawn, or an entrepreneur mapping out their next big move, success thrives in solitude. But here's where most people go wrong. They associate being alone with loneliness. These are two completely different things. Loneliness is the feeling of being disconnected from others, but solitude is the choice to be with yourself, to strengthen yourself. When you shift your mindset and start seeing alone time as an opportunity rather than a punishment, everything changes. You stop fearing isolation, and instead, you start using it as a tool for growth. Solitude builds confidence. When you know you can stand alone and thrive, you develop an unshakable belief in yourself. You no longer need constant reassurance from others because you've proven to yourself that you are capable, that you can handle challenges without needing a safety net. And that kind of confidence makes you powerful beyond measure. It means that no matter what happens, who comes or goes from your life, what challenges arise, you have the strength to handle it. In a world that constantly demands your attention, choosing to step back and focus on yourself is an act of power. It's a decision to take control of your own growth, to invest in your own development, to prioritize your own success. It's not about isolating yourself forever. It's about learning to value your own company, to trust your own judgment, to build yourself into the kind of person who doesn't rely on external validation to feel complete. So instead of fearing being alone, embrace it, use it. Let it be the time where you become the strongest version of yourself, where you gain the clarity, confidence, and resilience that will set you apart. Because the moment you master the power of solitude, you become unstoppable. When you're alone, you're in full control of your environment. You dictate the energy around you, the thoughts you entertain, and the emotions you cultivate. This level of control is a gift, one that most people overlook. In a world filled with constant noise, opinions, and distractions, solitude gives you the power to shape your mindset with intention. And mindset is everything. It determines how you react to challenges, how you perceive opportunities, and ultimately, how far you go in life. The truth is, most people never take the time to master their own thoughts. They allow their minds to be shaped by external influences, social media, news, the opinions of friends, the expectations of family. But when you embrace solitude, you get to reclaim your mental space. You begin to notice the patterns of your thoughts. Are they empowering or limiting? Are they moving you forward or holding you back? This kind of self-awareness is only possible when you give yourself the time and space to observe your mind without interference. Solitude forces you to confront the inner dialogue that runs your life. If that dialogue is filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, you now have the opportunity to reprogram it. You can actively replace those limiting beliefs with empowering ones. You can train your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles, to focus on solutions instead of problems, to believe in yourself even when no one else does. This is where mental mastery begins. When you spend time alone, you also develop emotional resilience. You no longer rely on external sources to regulate your emotions. Instead, you learn how to manage them internally. You recognize that happiness, confidence, and inner peace are not things you get from the outside world. They are states of being that you cultivate from within. This is a game changer because it means that no matter what happens around you, you remain grounded. You are no longer controlled by the ups and downs of external circumstances because you have built a solid foundation within yourself. Beyond emotional resilience, solitude sharpens your ability to focus. In a world filled with distractions, focus is a superpower. When you're alone, there are no interruptions, no one pulling you in different directions. You can direct your full attention to what truly matters. Whether it's developing a skill, strategizing your next move, or simply reflecting on your life's direction, solitude gives you the mental space to go deep. This deep focus leads to breakthroughs that would never happen in a chaotic environment. This is why some of the most successful people in history have spent significant time alone. They understood that solitude wasn't a disadvantage, it was a necessity. They used it to refine their vision, strengthen their mindset, and develop the discipline needed to execute their goals. They didn't allow the noise of the world to drown out their inner voice. They mastered their minds in isolation so that when they stepped back into the world, they were unshakable. The power of solitude also extends to emotional intelligence. When you're constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to be reactive. You absorb the emotions and energy of those around you, often without realizing it. But when you spend time alone, you gain a deeper understanding of your own emotions. You learn to separate what is truly yours from what you've absorbed from others. This self-awareness allows you to navigate relationships and challenges with greater emotional control and clarity. Most people never give themselves the chance to experience this level of self-mastery. They avoid being alone because it forces them to face themselves. But the reality is, you can't build a strong mindset if you're always seeking external validation or avoiding your own thoughts. True mental strength comes from within. It's built in the moments of solitude when you choose to take full responsibility for your mindset, your emotions, and your future. So if you want to become the strongest version of yourself, embrace solitude. Use it to train your mind, to rewire your thoughts, to build emotional resilience. Make it a time of deep focus and reflection, a time to cultivate unshakable confidence. Because when you learn to master your mindset in isolation, you become unstoppable in any situation. The ability to stand alone and thrive is one of the greatest indicators of confidence. When you rely on others for validation, approval, or support, you give away your power. But when you develop self-reliance, you take control of your own destiny. You become someone who doesn't need reassurance to take action, who doesn't wait for permission to chase a goal, and who doesn't crumble when faced with challenges. This level of confidence is rare because most people have been conditioned to believe they need external approval to feel worthy or successful. The truth is, the strongest people in the world are those who have learned to depend on themselves. When you become self-reliant, you stop seeking permission to pursue your dreams. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or the support of others to take action. You realize that you are the source of your own strength. This mindset shifts everything. Instead of hesitating because you fear judgment, you move forward with certainty. Instead of doubting yourself, you trust your abilities. You start making decisions based on what aligns with your vision, not on what others think is possible for you. One of the most powerful things about self-reliance is that it builds an unshakable sense of inner security. Most people feel lost when they are alone because they have never taken the time to fully trust themselves. They rely on external voices to guide them, to tell them what to do, to reassure them when they feel uncertain. But when you cultivate self-reliance, You no longer need that external validation, deep within, that you can handle whatever comes your way, whether life throws challenges at you, whether people come and go, whether circumstances change, you remain steady because you have built your foundation within yourself. This doesn't mean you reject help or isolate yourself from others. It means that your confidence isn't dependent on outside factors. You can collaborate with others, work with teams, and engage in relationships, but your self-worth and belief in yourself remain intact, regardless of external circumstances. This is true power. When you no longer fear standing alone, you gain a level of freedom that few people ever experience. You stop worrying about fitting in. You stop seeking approval. You start living on your own terms, driven by your own standards. Self-reliance also makes you a stronger decision maker. Many people struggle with making decisions because they fear making the wrong choice. They seek endless opinions, hesitate, and second-guess themselves. But when you trust yourself, you develop the confidence to make bold choices. You understand that no matter what happens, you have the ability to adapt, learn, and move forward. You don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. You take action, and because of that, you create momentum in your life. Another key aspect of self-reliance is emotional independence. Most people tie their happiness to external conditions, the approval of others, the success of a project, the validation they receive from social media, or even the presence of certain people in their lives. But when you cultivate self-reliance, you realize that your happiness and self-worth come from within. You stop looking for external sources to make you feel complete because you already know you are enough. This level of confidence allows you to build stronger relationships, not weaker ones. Instead of needing someone to fill a void in your life, you connect with others from a place of wholeness. Instead of fearing rejection or abandonment, you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that confidence is something you're either born with or without. But confidence is built, and it's built through action. It's built by repeatedly proving to yourself that you can handle challenges, that you can trust your own judgment, and that you can thrive even when you are on your own. The more you rely on yourself, the stronger you become. When you develop this level of confidence, you become someone who stands tall, no matter the circumstances. You are no longer afraid to walk your own path, to take risks, or to pursue your ambitions. You stop being controlled by the fear of failure or rejection. Instead, you move forward with certainty, knowing that you have everything you need within you to succeed. This is the power of self-reliance. It turns you into someone who doesn't just survive, but thrives no matter what life throws your way. Clarity is one of the most valuable things you can have in life, yet most people struggle to find it. They move through life distracted, unsure of what they truly want, constantly pulled in different directions by external influences. The reason clarity is so rare is that most people never give themselves the space to find it. They're always surrounded by noise, social media, opinions from others, societal expectations, all of which cloud their ability to listen to their own inner voice. But when you embrace solitude, you create the space needed for true clarity to emerge. Being alone removes distractions and allows you to focus entirely on yourself. When you step away from the constant input of the outside world, you gain a deeper understanding of who you are, what you want, and where you are going. Instead of being influenced by what everyone else thinks you should do, you start making decisions based on your own values, desires, and vision. You begin to separate what truly matters to you from what has simply been conditioned into you. Most people never take the time to ask themselves the deep, important questions. What do I truly want? What kind of life do I want to build? What makes me feel alive? What drains my energy? When you are constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to ignore these questions or to accept the default answers that society provides. But when you spend time alone, you are forced to confront them. And in doing so, you gain the kind of clarity that most people will never experience. With clarity comes purpose. When you know exactly what you want and why you want it, your actions become more intentional. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your vision. You stop saying yes to obligations that don't serve you. You stop engaging in habits that hold you back. Instead, you become laser focused on the things that truly matter. Your energy becomes directed toward what will move you forward rather than being scattered in 100 different directions. Solitude also gives you clarity in your relationships. When you are constantly surrounded by people, It's easy to lose yourself in the expectations and emotions of others. But when you take time alone, you start to see which relationships truly add value to your life and which ones drain you. You recognize who genuinely supports you and who simply tolerates you. You become aware of which connections inspire you and which ones hold you back. This level of awareness allows you to build stronger, healthier relationships based on mutual respect and shared values rather than obligation or convenience. Beyond relationships, solitude gives you clarity on your emotions. Many people go through life reacting to their emotions without fully understanding them. They feel anxious, frustrated, or unfulfilled, but never take the time to ask themselves why. When you spend time alone, you gain insight into your emotional patterns. You start to recognize what triggers certain feelings, what habits contribute to your well-being, and what changes you need to make to create a more fulfilling life. This emotional clarity allows you to navigate challenges with greater awareness and control, rather than being controlled by your emotions. Another powerful benefit of clarity is the ability to make better decisions. When you are unclear about what you want, decision-making becomes stressful. You hesitate, second-guess yourself, and seek endless opinions from others. But when you have clarity, you trust yourself, you make decisions quickly and confidently because you know they align with your true desires. You don't need validation from others because you are already certain of what is right for you. This ability to make decisive, intentional choices is what separates those who create extraordinary lives from those who simply drift through life. Many people fear solitude because they associate it with loneliness. But the reality is, solitude is one of the most powerful tools you can use to gain clarity and direction. The moments of quiet reflection, the time spent alone with your thoughts, the ability to disconnect from external noise, these are the moments where breakthroughs happen. These are the moments where you realize what truly matters, where you gain the courage to make bold decisions, and where you step into a life that is fully aligned with who you are. So instead of avoiding solitude, embrace it. Make time for it. Use it as a tool to sharpen your focus, to reconnect with yourself, and to gain the clarity that will guide you toward the life you were meant to live. Because once you have clarity, nothing can stop you. Creativity and innovation don't come from constantly being surrounded by people, distractions, or the noise of everyday life. They come from deep thought, introspection, and the ability to let your mind wander freely. Some of the greatest ideas in history were born in solitude. The most successful artists, inventors, and visionaries understood the power of being alone. They knew that when you step away from the crowd, you give your mind the space it needs to think differently, to imagine new possibilities, and to create something truly unique. When you're alone, your mind is free to explore without interruption. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with notifications, conversations, and endless streams of information, it's rare to have a moment of pure, uninterrupted thought. But those moments are exactly where creativity flourishes. When you embrace solitude, you allow your mind to slow down, to process ideas deeply, and to make connections that wouldn't happen in a distracted state. Most people assume that creativity is something that just happens spontaneously, but in reality it requires mental space. It requires the ability to step back, to reflect, and to let ideas evolve naturally. When you're constantly engaged in external stimuli, your brain is in a reactive state, always responding, but never truly creating. But when you take time to be alone, you shift from reacting to reflecting. You start thinking beyond the obvious, seeing patterns where others see randomness, and discovering solutions where others see problems. History has proven this time and time again. Some of the greatest thinkers and innovators spent significant time alone. Albert Einstein often took long walks by himself, using that solitude to develop his revolutionary theories. Steve Jobs was known for his solo meditation walks, which helped him refine his creative vision. Writers, musicians, and artists throughout history have retreated into solitude to create their masterpieces. This isn't a coincidence, it's a pattern. The most original ideas don't come from constantly being surrounded by others. They come from stepping away and allowing the mind to work without interference. Solitude doesn't just boost creativity, it strengthens problem-solving skills. When faced with a challenge, most people seek immediate external input. They ask for opinions, search for advice, or look for quick fixes. But the most powerful solutions often come from within. When you take the time to sit with a problem alone, without outside noise, You allow your subconscious mind to process it deeply. You start to see angles and opportunities that weren't obvious before. You develop the ability to trust your own insights rather than relying on external validation. Innovation requires a willingness to think differently, to challenge existing norms, and to explore ideas that others may not understand at first. This level of thinking is difficult when you are constantly influenced by the beliefs and limitations of those around you. Solitude gives you the courage to follow your own intuition, to experiment without fear of judgment, and to develop ideas that go beyond conventional thinking. The most groundbreaking innovations in history weren't created by people who followed the crowd. They were created by people who dared to think independently. Beyond creativity and innovation, solitude also enhances focus. In a world filled with distractions, the ability to focus deeply on a single task is a rare and valuable skill. When you work alone, you remove the interruptions that come from constant social interactions, emails, and digital notifications. This allows you to enter a state of deep work, where your mind is fully immersed in the task at hand. Studies have shown that people produce their best work when they have long, uninterrupted periods of concentration. Solitude provides that environment, allowing you to achieve levels of productivity and creativity that simply aren't possible in a chaotic setting. Many people fear being alone because they associate it with isolation, but the truth is, solitude is one of the most powerful tools for personal and professional growth. It's not about cutting yourself off from the world, it's about giving yourself the space to create, to innovate, and to think at a higher level. It's about embracing the fact that your best ideas, your most original thoughts, and your greatest breakthroughs will often come when you are by yourself. If you want to unlock your full creative potential, start making solitude a priority. Carve out time in your day for quiet reflection. Step away from the constant noise and let your mind breathe. Use solitude as a tool, not as something to be feared. Because when you learn to harness the power of being alone, you open the door to unlimited creativity, innovation, and success. Discipline is the foundation of success, and solitude is one of the most powerful environments for developing it. When you are alone, you are fully responsible for how you spend your time, how you manage your energy, and how you commit to your goals. There are no external pressures, no one watching over you, and no one pushing you forward. It's just you and your choices. This is where true discipline is built, not in the presence of others, but in the moments when no one is watching. Most people struggle with discipline because they rely on external motivation. They depend on accountability from others, deadlines, or rewards to stay consistent. But real discipline, the kind that creates lasting success, comes from within. It's the ability to show up every day, do the work, and push through challenges even when no one is there to encourage you. Solitude forces you to cultivate this kind of self-discipline because in the absence of external pressure, you learn to become your own motivator. When you spend time alone, you eliminate distractions. You remove the excuses that come from social obligations, unnecessary conversations, and outside influences that pull you away from your goals. In this space, you have the opportunity to create structure and habits that serve your long-term vision. You can set clear goals, define a daily routine, and develop the mental toughness needed to follow through. The more time you spend in solitude, the more control you gain over your habits, and the more disciplined you become in executing your plans. Solitude also teaches you patience. In today's fast-paced world, people are constantly seeking instant gratification. They want quick results, immediate validation, and shortcuts to success. But true growth and achievement take time. When you embrace solitude, you learn to slow down and trust the process. You become more comfortable with delayed gratification because you are no longer seeking approval or comparing your progress to others. Instead, you stay focused on your own journey, putting in the work consistently, knowing that discipline will lead to long-term rewards. Another powerful aspect of solitude is that it removes the need for external validation. Many people struggle with discipline because they base their actions on what others think. They work hard when they are being watched, but when they are alone, they lack the same commitment. This is because their discipline is tied to external recognition rather than internal standards. But when you develop discipline in solitude, you learn to hold yourself accountable. You work hard because it's who you are, not because you need approval. You set your own standards and you meet them, regardless of whether anyone is watching. One of the biggest challenges people face in achieving their goals is inconsistency. They start strong but lose momentum when motivation fades or distractions arise. But solitude helps you build the habit of consistency. When you create a routine in isolation, free from outside influences, you train yourself to stay committed no matter what. You become someone who follows through, who doesn't wait for motivation, but relies on discipline. This is a game changer because success is not about doing the work when you feel like it. It's about doing it even when you don't. Beyond personal discipline, solitude also enhances your ability to set priorities. Many people fill their schedules with activities that are not truly aligned with their goals, simply because they feel pressured to be busy. But when you spend time alone, you gain clarity on what really matters. You start eliminating distractions, cutting out unnecessary commitments, and focusing only on what will move you forward. This ability to prioritize is one of the greatest strengths you can develop because it ensures that every action you take is intentional and productive. Perhaps the greatest benefit of solitude is that it strengthens your mental toughness. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and obstacles, and the ability to push through them depends on your mindset. When you develop discipline in solitude, you build an unshakable inner strength. You no longer need external motivation to keep going. You no longer fear difficulty or discomfort. You develop the ability to push through resistance, to keep working when things get hard, and to maintain focus even when results are not immediate. This level of resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who quit. Discipline is not something you are born with, it is something you build. And one of the best ways to build it is by embracing solitude. When you remove distractions, take full responsibility for your actions, and commit to your goals without external validation, you develop a level of self-control that few people ever achieve. You become someone who doesn't just dream about success, but has the discipline to make it happen. And once you have mastered discipline and solitude, you can apply it to every area of your life, creating unstoppable momentum toward your goals. Emotional strength is one of the most valuable assets you can develop, and solitude is a powerful tool for building it. Many people struggle with their emotions because they have never learned to face them alone. They rely on external validation to feel secure, seek distractions to avoid discomfort, and turn to others for reassurance whenever they feel uncertain. But true emotional strength comes from within. It is built through self-awareness, self-regulation, and the ability to process emotions without needing constant external input. Solitude forces you to confront your thoughts, emotions, and fears, and in doing so, it strengthens you in ways that nothing else can. When you spend time alone, you gain a deeper understanding of your emotions. Instead of reacting impulsively to situations, you learn to observe and process your feelings. You become aware of what triggers certain emotions, how you respond to challenges, and what patterns may be holding you back. This self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence, which is essential for success in every area of life, whether it's business, relationships, or personal growth. The more time you spend in solitude, the better you become at managing your emotions rather than letting them control you. Most people are uncomfortable with solitude because it forces them to face themselves. They fear silence because it brings up unresolved emotions, insecurities, and thoughts they have been avoiding. This is why so many people seek constant distractions, social media, entertainment, or even excessive social interactions. But avoiding your emotions only weakens you. When you embrace solitude, you learn to sit with your emotions, to understand them, and to work through them without needing external validation or escape. This ability to process emotions on your own builds a deep sense of emotional resilience that few people ever develop. Another powerful aspect of solitude is that it teaches you to be your own source of comfort and strength. Many people depend on others to regulate their emotions. They seek reassurance when they feel anxious, validation when they feel insecure, or distraction when they feel lonely. But when you learn to navigate your emotions alone, you develop an inner stability that is unshakable. You no longer need constant reassurance from others because you have built the ability to comfort and motivate yourself. This level of emotional independence allows you to move through life with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. Solitude also helps you break free from emotional dependency. Many people stay in toxic relationships, friendships, or environments simply because they fear being alone. They tolerate disrespect, neglect their own needs, and accept less than they deserve because they believe they cannot function without certain people in their lives. But when you spend time alone and develop emotional strength, you realize that you are enough on your own. You stop tolerating relationships that drain you, and you start choosing connections that uplift and empower you. This shift in mindset allows you to build stronger, healthier relationships based on mutual respect rather than dependency. Beyond relationships, solitude strengthens your ability to handle stress and adversity. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. The difference between those who thrive and those who crumble under pressure is emotional resilience. When you cultivate emotional strength in solitude, you develop the ability to remain calm under pressure, to think clearly in difficult situations, and to recover quickly from setbacks. You stop being overwhelmed by challenges because you have built the internal tools to navigate them effectively. One of the most underestimated benefits of solitude is the way it helps you develop self-acceptance. Many people struggle with self-doubt and insecurity because they are constantly comparing themselves to others. They measure their worth based on external factors, how they are perceived, what others think of them, or how they stack up against societal expectations. But when you spend time alone, you remove those external influences. You start to see yourself clearly without comparison or judgment. You learn to appreciate your own strengths, to accept your flaws, and to embrace yourself fully. This level of self-acceptance leads to unshakable confidence because your sense of self-worth is no longer dependent on external validation. Solitude is not about isolation, it is about self-mastery. It is about developing the kind of emotional strength that allows you to move through life with confidence, resilience, and inner peace. It teaches you to be self-sufficient, to regulate your emotions, and to stand strong in the face of adversity. The more comfortable you become with solitude, the stronger you become emotionally. And when you have this kind of strength, you are no longer controlled by fear, insecurity, or the opinions of others. You become truly free. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build. And one of the most powerful ways to develop unshakable confidence is through solitude. When you rely on external validation to feel worthy, your confidence is fragile. It depends on how others see you, how they treat you, and whether they approve of your choices. But when you cultivate confidence in solitude, it comes from within. It is not dependent on anyone else. It becomes a deep, unbreakable belief in yourself, your abilities, and your path in life. Spending time alone forces you to trust yourself. In a world where people are constantly seeking opinions, feedback, and reassurance, it is rare to develop true self-trust. Many people second-guess themselves because they have never learned to rely on their own judgment. They are always looking for confirmation that they are making the right choices, afraid to take action without external approval. But when you spend time alone, making decisions without outside influence, you develop an internal compass. You learn to trust your instincts, to listen to your own thoughts, and to have confidence in your ability to navigate life. True confidence is not about arrogance or seeking attention. It is about knowing who you are and not needing validation from anyone else. When you embrace solitude, you stop seeking approval. You stop worrying about whether people like you or whether you fit into a certain mold. Instead, you develop a sense of certainty about yourself. You become comfortable in your own skin, knowing that your worth is not determined by anyone else's opinions. This level of confidence allows you to walk into any situation with self-assurance, not because you need others to see you a certain way, but because you already know your value. Solitude also teaches you to be comfortable with discomfort. Many people avoid being alone because they associate it with loneliness or boredom. But when you face those feelings head on, you realize they are temporary. You learn that you don't need constant stimulation or social interaction to feel fulfilled. This ability to be alone without discomfort strengthens your confidence because it removes the fear of being by yourself. You no longer need to fill every moment with distractions or people just to feel secure. Instead, you develop a quiet, steady confidence that is rooted in self-sufficiency. Another powerful way solitude builds confidence is by helping you develop competence. Confidence is not just about believing in yourself. It is about proving to yourself that you can handle challenges, learn new skills, and achieve your goals. When you spend time alone, you have the opportunity to work on yourself without distraction. You can develop skills, sharpen your knowledge, and push yourself outside your comfort zone. Every time you accomplish something on your own, your confidence grows. You start to see yourself as capable, resourceful, and strong. And the more you prove to yourself that you can succeed, the more unshakable your confidence becomes. Solitude also allows you to define success on your own terms. Many people lack confidence because they are measuring themselves against someone else's definition of success. They compare themselves to others, feeling like they are not good enough because they don't have the same achievements, lifestyle, or recognition. But when you spend time alone, disconnected from external expectations, you have the chance to reflect on what success truly means to you. You gain clarity on what you want rather than what society tells you to want. This personal definition of success gives you confidence because you are no longer chasing a path that doesn't align with who you are. Perhaps one of the greatest gifts of solitude is the ability to build self-respect. Confidence is not just about how you present yourself, it is about how you see yourself when no one else is around. When you spend time alone, making choices that align with your values, staying committed to your goals, and treating yourself with respect, you build an unshakable sense of self-worth. You stop tolerating situations or relationships that do not serve you. You set higher standards for yourself, not because you want to impress others, but because you truly believe you deserve better. This self-respect is the foundation of real confidence, the kind that does not waver in the face of criticism, rejection, or failure. At its core, confidence is about knowing that you are enough, that you are strong enough, capable enough, and worthy enough to stand on your own. Solitude gives you the space to develop that belief. It teaches you to trust yourself, to define success for yourself, and to build a level of confidence that does not require external validation. When you embrace solitude, you become someone who walks through life with certainty, not because others believe in you, but because you believe in yourself. And that kind of confidence is unstoppable.